Welcome back to the Dynamic Duo podcast. We're excited you're here for our first official episode. Like we said last time, it's going to be all about habits in the next few episodes. And we're going to start with values, your personal values. Why are they important? What is the connection to the habits? So I'm very happy to be here with my co-host Armando.
Hi.
I'm just gonna give the mic to you, Armando.
Well, thank you very much, Anja. Thank you. Good to see you again. We haven't seen each other since last week. Wink, wink. So we recorded the 2 episodes in one day. That's why. But you don't know that. Shh. So we're happy to have you back on our podcast, the Dynamic Duo podcast. But before we get started, I want to encourage our audience to subscribe and don't forget to give us a like, because if you help us through that, you will help us to reach more audience and add more value to their lives. We are trying to that's our main goal. So please subscribe and give us a like. Send your comments, of course. That's also welcome. And yes, your idea of developing habits and more, there are different routines, your morning routine and things like that was a great idea, Anja. And as we discuss and talk about the planning, I mentioned to you that we should start with values. Why values? Well, our personal values, helps us to understand why we do what we do, why we get up every day and act and go and handle and talk to people and do business and so on and so forth. So we want to talk about developing new habits, which will be the aspiration, right? That's what people want to achieve. There are good habits and there are bad habits. I mean, everyone has to decide which one. I mean, what do they want to practice in their own life, right? I mean, but what one thing is true, if you allow me to say this one word about habits, and then we'll go back to values. Um, in my experience, in coaching people through the years, I discovered that for some people, it was very easy to achieve their aspirations. For some people, it was very easy, very natural, even, to say, I'm gonna do this, and they did it. Just like the King Midas. Is that the English translation? El Rey Midas in Spanish. Everything that people touch or these people touch turn to gold. Have you known people like that, Anja, in your life? Everything goes their way
Not
somehow.
personally. I don't think personally.
No, not personally. I mean, I have. It seems like everything they touch, it turns to gold, in the sense that, you know it happens naturally. I mean, things go their own way, and of course we have to describe success, and that's a different topic. But on the other hand, there are people that no matter what they do, even if they work really hard at it, somehow things don't work. It don't function. They don't make progress in life. So habits, if we look really, really, really deep, I mean, uh, habits are at the core of the whole thing. But underneath habits, I believe, are personal values. You know, so what people really value, what is important to them, because they organize their lives around those values. And everyone has them. What are your personal values, Anja, for example, if I may ask? or some of them,
One
some of them.
personal value for me, for sure, is my family. I
Hmm.
think, um, yeah, family is one of the most important things you can have.
Hmm.
Health is important. My faith is important to me.
Hmm.
Yeah. What are yours, or some
Well,
of yours?
we share some of some values, you and I. I mean, faith and family are at the top, of course. Some of the other values that are important to me are education. I'm always hungry to learn, to keep growing in that sense, right? So service is another one that is important to me. Of course, I want to make money to feed the family, but somehow I never think about that on the first, as at the front. I'm thinking about, oh, how can I help someone, right? Through what I know and my services and so on and so forth. So those are very important to me. And then there are other factors, like health, staying healthy and staying physically fit, and so on and so forth. Yeah. Financial security, amazingly, is not at the top of my values. It's one of my most important values, but of course, I need to pay the rent,
Yeah.
but it's not necessarily what motivates me.
Hmm.
It helps. It helps. I mean, I had to be honest, but but some of that,
Yeah.
some of my values, right? And of course, the list is long. I mean, and a lot of people, you and I, probably share a lot of other values, honesty, and so on and so forth. Being on time. But yeah, I think that the point is that if we identify what's important to us, and if we are conscious about that, then we begin to organize our lives around those values. You know, even things like time management. If you say my family is important to me, what do you do?
I organize my week so I can see my family. For me,
Exactly.
for example, it's important that I spend time with my niece.
Hmm.
So whenever it's possible, I'm gonna try to see her, to spend time with her. And because it's one of my values, I really want to live that out in a weekly or bi-weekly manner. So yeah,
Yeah,
those are
exactly.
things that, yeah, that go to get hand in hand. If you value, yeah, let's say if you value money at the top of, if money is at the top of your list, then you would probably spend your week differently than if family is at the top of your list, or work-life balance is at the top of your list.
Hmm.
I think that's, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And you put the finger right on the core, the main point of the whole thing. If you are congruent with your values, then you will act, and you will
Mhm.
feel fulfilled and happy. Feel,
Yeah.
because you are congruent with your value, meaning you say your family is important, so you act accordingly. And going back to the habits that we're going to spend a lot of time in the coming future, and the next over the next few weeks. I think that's at the core of the problem, why some people do not achieve their goals,
Mhm.
because they say something is important, but they do not act accordingly. And that's what I meant, before. That's why some people do. It seems like everything turns to gold. Well, they are just, in German, fleißig. They are disciplined. They work hard at what they say they believe, and act accordingly. If they say, being on time is important to me, but they are hours late. you know I mean, they might say that in the interview, right? When they are being interviewed, oh yeah, I'm very on time, and teamwork, and so on and so forth, right? So people will, um, impress the potential boss and company. But on after the first week, you probably will discover really quick if teamwork is important for this person, or if someone is I was 5-10 minutes late every day or every other day.
Yeah.
That's the problem. That's where problems arise
Yeah.
from the
That's
lack of
why
being
it's
congruent. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. That's why it's also that's what I've learned with working with you. Some habits you want to have or start, but it's not at the top of your value list.
Mm-hmm.
So it's harder to really be consistent in this habit because it's not at the top of your list. And that's what I realized with some of my habits. I had habits that didn't have a strong enough why, and the value I didn't see, like deep down, I didn't see the value of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it didn't work. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I think it's really important, and it's good that we start with this topic, the values. Think about what are your values and then figure out, do the values match the habits you want to have? Or is there an imbalance? And that's probably why you need more discipline with that habit than with other habits.
Yeah, I think I think you're completely right because it's like rowing against the current,
Mm-hmm.
So even that, even if we identify our values, right? Okay, these are values are important to me, but we do not give the right priority to those values, then we'll have conflict, like you just said,
Yeah.
as well, because or if we try to give, I met some people that live according to this principle. They try to give the same priority or importance to every single value. And that sounds harsh when you say like, what? I need to decide what is whether family or whatever, one of my other values are more important. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
because life is full of conflicts, and there will be times when you have to decide what's
Mm-hmm.
important, and you had to
Mm-hmm.
make a choice,
Yeah.
right? But if we try to please everything and everyone, then it won't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It won't work because you can't, like you said, you have to decide. Sometimes you have to decide. And it doesn't mean just because you decide once that maybe you have weeks where your work is very important, and that doesn't mean that work is the number one value, but it's like an overall thing. Sometimes
Hmm.
we have to decide because you can't lose your job and you have to pay your bills. You
Mm.
can't
Of course.
always just be like, oh, I'm gonna go meet my family now. But it's an overall thing, and you can't, sometimes you have to choose, like you said, and you can't just switch back and forth and
Yeah.
think everything is, because when everything is important, nothing is.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I cannot say it better. Yes, that's correct. And I think it's if we are true to our values, right? Then we will be more productive. I mean, if we assign a priority, then we will be true, but we will also be more productive
Mhm.
because you are giving your time and attention to that which is important, which at the end is going to produce more and to be more beneficial. But breaking out of that mindset, that's the problem, I think. You're like, well, have to decide. Yeah, well, yeah, that's hard. And actually, that's when I do this exercise with the people I coach. That's probably the hardest. Just to identify and then define them.
Mm.
Like, well, I know. I don't know. For example, let us take family. I know my family is important to me. Well, what does that mean?
Yeah. How
Well,
does it look?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is really, really hard. Well, I love them. Well, yeah, I know, but What does that mean?
Yeah.
You know, so when we start digging, it takes time. You know, a lot of reflection.
Mhm.
But when we do that, for example, if I may add, when you uh, when you were able to identify your values and give priorities and define them, what effect did that have in your life?
Well, at first, of course, it was, or let's say I think I didn't do it right the first time,
Mhm.
to be quite honest. So
What?
it's shame on you. No,
No.
um, I did it more superficial, like you said, it's like more in a few words I
Hmm.
described it.
Mm,
But then we came back together and you told me, well, no, you have to go deeper, really dig into that. And I have to say it's difficult or it really takes time, like you
mhm,
said, to really figure out how does it look, how does it feel, what would my life look like if that value is at the top.
mhm,
Um, but it really, some decisions are easier now for me
mhm,
because I know now why I choose what I choose.
mhm,
And I know it's according to my values, and that
mhm,
makes it a lot easier for me to like to do time management,
mhm,
to plan my week. And yeah, I think it really helps you to get more clear on what you want in your life. It's
mhm,
also the same thing with defining success.
mhm,
I think it goes hand in hand with that.
mhm,
What is what is important to you, and then you, because you know these are my values and I want to live like that and I want to feel like that, then you can choose those things more easily because you know this is going to make me more happy than, let's say,
mhm,
more money will make me happy.
mhm,
If you're, like you said, money is not at the top of the list. With me also, it's not at the top of the list.
mhm,
It's there, but it's not at the
mhm.
top.
Right.
So sometimes I can more easily choose things and say no or yes to things. Also, saying no is not easy for everyone, and I'm
Mhm,
one of those people. So
mhm,
it's good to know, well, no, this is not my value. My value is
mhm.
whatever,
Yeah.
XYZ.
Mhm,
So I can choose this.
mhm.
Yeah, that I think
Y-
that changed.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that because um, it's just nice to hear that in this case you can see that working in your own life, and you touch on something very important. I think that's one of the extra. I mean, there are several benefits of really knowing your values and describe them to yourself. Because if you describe them to yourself in the as clear as possible as you can, then it's easier to live according to them, right? But you mentioned something very important that I think is so important, is the ability to say no to that which is not important. Which before is harder because if everything is like is mixed up, like, well, this is important. Oh, I would like to do that, or oh, that too, and that too. Well, yeah, but not everything has the same weight or value, right?
Yeah.
So that's really powerful. But more powerful than that is to be able to say yes to to that which is important. I mean, not only say no to that which is not important,
Mm-hmm.
but to say yes. Yes, I want to do this. This is the way I want to live, and
Yeah.
that's really really powerful. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's true.
And well, what do you think? I mean, we want to encourage our audience to work through this process. What
Mm-hmm.
advice would you give them, Anya, as they begin to dig in and experiment and discover this part of their lives?
So I can maybe tell how I started,
Okay.
because for me it was difficult to know all the values just in my head. So I Googled a list of values and I started to write down every value I think is important to me.
Mhm.
And because I think you said 10, I can have 10, right?
Well,
Or write down
my advice is to discover as many as possible,
and then
and then
shrink it.
shrink it up to the most important.
Exactly. So I wrote down everything,
Hmm.
obviously. And then I chose like the most important ones. And when it comes to describing it, just really think about how would your life look like, or what's if it would be perfect, how would
Hmm.
it feel like? How would it look like? How would you feel? How would you walk around? What
Hmm.
would you choose? What would you do? Um, that helps with describing it, because
Hmm.
maybe I'm a very visual person.
Hmm.
So maybe close your eyes and try to see it, like see yourself in this situation. Um, yeah, that would be some suggestions.
Hmm.
Just try to figure out what values are there and then write down the ones that you feel like are important to you, and then choose the most important ones for
Hmm.
yourself and rate them
Hmm.
from 1 to 10. If you
Hmm.
choose 10, then rate them from 1 to 10. And it's sometimes it's difficult. Just choose, like, just write it down. I mean, it's not that you don't have to share it with anyone,
Yeah.
what your number one is, um, or what your number 5 and 6 are. And you can switch it up if you realize. I think I changed it over
Right.
time.
Right.
Some of them I realized, oh, this is not as important as I thought it would be. And maybe, I mean, this is not a list you have to die with.
All right.
You have to keep it till
Right.
yeah, you're old. You can change, and I think it changes. Maybe not the top three; they will probably stay the same, but maybe over time you realize things are more important than you thought they would be. So
Yeah.
don't think this has to stay with you for the rest of your life.
Right. Right. Wow, man. Well, you will keep him busy with that. I mean, it sounds so easy, right, Anya? But
Yeah.
we'll be interested in knowing how it went. I mean, we hope you take it seriously and begin this journey, because you will be grateful, really. I mean, it's really rewarding. It's for you. I mean, you will be the one benefiting from that. But going to the last comment you mentioned, it's so true. You know, this is a living document, so to speak. You know, whatever you write, you know, we change, we evolve as we mature as time goes by. You know, and some things might shift a little bit, definitions or priorities, whatever. So thank you for mentioning that, Anya. Beautiful.
What would be your tips?
Well, no, I think I'd say adding to that is just really take your time
Mhm.
and take it seriously. I advise to document your progress. So, you know, get oh, a notebook. I like paper. You know, you might be one of those new kids that have to write everything on your computer or tablet, whatever. You know, just document somehow. I love paper, so uh, get your notebook or your tablet, whatever, and write your thoughts. You know, your journey. You're not going to do everything in one sitting. It will be impossible. Well, you might be able. I don't know, but uh, in my experience, it takes a long time. You know, so just take it easy, uh, take your time, reflect a lot about it, and write everything that comes to your mind. You know, it might take you a while, but think about a marathon. It's not a sprint. So you know, just take it easy and go day by day, and think about that, because these values, these are really your inner compass. You know, this,
Mhm.
if you know this, things will be so much easier for you. So I would say that just take your time and take it seriously. Yeah. Oh, Anya.
Great.
Well, next week we'll be keep talking about that. Please send us your comments. Right. We might round it up. Who knows? If we get comments, we might expand a little bit. If you think we missed something, or you want to add, or if you have questions, let us know, and we'll take them into account, of course, because we'll be working towards habits and routines. Yeah. One last word before we leave, Anya.
Yes, thanks for listening in, and we'd love to have you back next week to our next episode. And yeah, don't forget to push the bell button so you don't miss anything.
That's right. That's right. Well, until next time, Anya and audience, my beloved, I wish you all a successful and blessed day.
Bye.
Bye.